Hey guys, welcome back to Rossoneri TV. I'm Joe and I'm here for the match preview of Sampdoria against AC Milan. It's round 6 of the 2017-2018 Serie A season. Match will be played tomorrow on Sunday, September 24th at 12:30 Italian time. It is an early kickoff for us North Americans and of course other parts of the world. But it is a very crucial match, of course, a very important one indeed, as we are facing a team, one of the only teams actually in the Serie A at the moment that is still undefeated. Sampdoria have picked up 2 wins and 2 draws so far in their 4 matches, and therefore it's definitely going to be a tough task against the Genovese side, because I believe that they have a lot of quality players that could do damage, and of course playing at home at the Marassi is never an easy task for any team when they go visit there. So I think I'm expecting a very tough encounter, even though they are below us in the standings at the moment. I think that Sampdoria is definitely going to be a very tough team to beat, and therefore we must be careful, we must play our cards right and make sure that we will manage to hopefully get 3 points in the bag tomorrow. Now, I did want to speak a bit about, of course, the match that was played during the week against Spal, because we did start the week on the right foot, actually, beating Spal, the team from Ferrara. We beat them 2-0 at the San Siro. I didn't get a chance to watch the game live, but I did see parts of it later on the replay, and I was happy definitely with the 2-0 win that we picked up against Spal, but I think we could have done even more. I think we could have scored more goals, and I think oftentimes we were overplaying it. Even though I think that, you know, at the end of the day, what counts is that we do get the result, and the performance is something that should be always secondary. What's important here is that we pick up as many points as possible to end in the position that we need to end at the end of the season. So yes, I mean, performance does matter. You always want to put on a good show for the fans. But what's more important, at least in these early stages of the season, is to get the 3 points and make sure that you walk out of those games with the full points in the bag. So, like I said, I was pleased with the win. Maybe we could have done better in terms of goal scorers. We only scored 2 goals, and they were both off penalties against Spal. But, you know, like I said, it's still a testing period. It's still a period where Montela's trying different things out, different formations, different players in different positions. So it's still a very early stage of the season where Montela's definitely trying new things all the time. Speaking about formations, it seems like Milan will once again be going with a 3-5-1-1, a formation that we have been seeing for the past few games, actually. It seems like Donnarumma will be starting in net, of course, with Zapata, Bonucci, Romagnoli in the back 3. As for the 5 midfielders, we're going to be seeing Abate, Kessi, Billa, Bonaventura, and Ricardo Rodriguez, with Suso playing right behind Kalinic there up front. I think this is very similar to what we have seen, especially up front against Udinese. During the week, we did see Kalinic playing with Andre Silva. We saw them encountering a bit of difficulties. So it seems like Montela's going back to that module, that formation, that lineup, at least for the most part, that we saw against Udinese. And Kalinic scored 2 goals in that game. He's going to be getting another chance this time against Sampdoria. I'm very pleased with that midfield. I think it's very strong to see guys like Kessi, Billa, Bonaventura all starting there, with Ricardo Rodriguez also having the opportunity to send in balls on that flank there. I think it's definitely a very positive midfield. Maybe the only change I would have brought to the table here was maybe Calabria for Abate. But that could still be a substitution that could be made over the course of the game. Çalhanoğlu could also be coming in to replace Bonaventura, depending how things are going. I'm a bit skeptic about the defense, to be honest there. Zapata playing once again. We saw him quite a few times so far this season. We saw him in the Europa League against Austria Vienna. Last game against Spal he was playing. And, you know, it's not like I want to keep mentioning the fact that Zapata, it's never someone that you can rely upon, but oftentimes he does make those stupid mistakes. His man marking is not the best, and against a team like Sampdoria that you need to be very careful, I personally wouldn't, you know, go opt for an option like him. You know, I would probably go for Musacchio. But then again, we need to rest some players. I do believe that we have an Europa League fixture next week, so that's another 2 games, and we are also playing against Roma next weekend. So it's gonna be a busy week next week, and like I mentioned several times already, you know, rotation is definitely gonna be a key component of our season, and we're gonna have to do the best of it. So that is why we're probably going to be seeing Zapata tomorrow alongside Bonucci and Romagnoli. Either way, I don't think this lineup is weak. I think it's a very strong lineup. And like I said, we have a lot of options on the bench that could help us out as well. Like Andri Silva, Cutrone, Çalhanoğlu, Calabria, whoever the case is. These guys are ready to come on and hopefully fix things up for Milan in case that we're not doing too well in the game. Also, I want to speak a bit about some Sampdoria players in which I believe we should keep an eye out for, because these guys are definitely very strong players. Quagliarella and Duvan Zapata. Duvan Zapata, he's such a lethal striker, and I think he's very strong. We need to be careful because this guy knows how to score goals. Quagliarella as well. Yes, he's been changing a lot of teams, but Quagliarella, once again, he's a proven goal scorer, at least in the Serie A. Pride is another name that I would be careful with, especially in that midfield. And the defense looks pretty solid as well. It's not going to be an easy game, like I said. Very tough at the Ferraris. It's always a tough match. So we need to be very careful and hopefully play in a very interesting and competitive way, and not just let off even if we concede early or whatever the case is. So yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to mention in regards to the game. So let me know exactly what your thoughts are in the comments section, as I'll be reading them for the next few minutes. I also just wanted to apologize. A lot of people are asking me why sometimes I'm not making videos throughout the week. Well, the case is, like many of you know, I'm usually very busy, and when I'm busy, Adamo takes over. But he has his things as well. So some weeks, guys, I want to apologize in advance if you do not see any videos for the midweek fixtures. It's not that I don't want to, I'm simply way too busy to even get a chance to record. That is pretty much the main reason. But let's get into your comments. I want to know what you guys say in terms of this match. Alex Acosta says, where's Musacchio? Well, Musacchio is on the bench. I mentioned it before. Zapata will most likely get the start tomorrow against Sampdoria. And I think a main reason for this is mainly for squad rotation. Next week, mentioned it before, we have a game in the Europa League, and we are also playing against Roma next weekend. So we need to rotate players and make sure that everyone is fit for those important clashes next week. But Musacchio will be part of the team, just not in the starting 11. Abdal Rahman says, I guess Zapata did very good for the matches that he played. He didn't play that bad, and to be honest, he didn't play against very strong opposition. I just recall the mistake that he made against Austria Vienna, where he didn't man mark the player properly, and we conceded a goal because of that. But, you know, we have to play Zapata nonetheless, I guess, because that's what the rotation means. We need to, you know, play these cards sometimes. So that is why we will be seeing Zapata, I guess, more often than other players this season. Nathan says, in concern about Bonucci, we can't keep playing him that much, just as we did last year with Suso. Just because he's important for us, it might come and bite us in the ass last rounds of the game. I agree with you. I mean, with Juventus, he was playing a lot just the same. But there were a lot of good players also to replace him. So we saw, for example, guys like Rugani coming in for Juventus. Whereas Milan, yes, we have a guy like Musacchio on the bench. But it's not like we have too many options in terms of guys that could replace in the back. There's also Gustavo Gomez. But personally, you know, he has his games, and then other games he's just a bit shaky. But we also have guys like Paletta, so, you know, we're definitely going to be seeing rotation at times. It's just that I believe we won't be seeing the whole defense rotated at once. And what I mean by this is that you will always see two of the three main defenders playing at the same time. So, for example, tomorrow we'll be seeing Bonucci with Romagnoli, and Zapata will be playing instead of Musacchio. Then another week we could see Romagnoli not playing, and maybe Paletta will be inserted there. Just to give you guys an example of what we could expect further on. Some people are giving me updates regarding the Napoli match. It seems like Spal have tied against Napoli 2-2. Well, that is very great news. I wasn't even expecting this result, but still looking here, and there's still 10 minutes to go about, so anything could happen. But that's definitely a very encouraging sign, I guess, for the standings, even though it's still very early on. But if that's the case, Milan need to put pressure on these teams, and we all know how difficult it will be to even make it to the Champions League next year. There's a lot of competition. Teams like Inter, Roma, even Lazio are all there to battle for that third, fourth spot of the league that will grant them the Champions League qualification. So it's definitely going to be difficult, and we need to get as many points as possible in order to achieve that that spot. What do I think about Suso's new position? I think he is not in the best form in this new role. That's a very good question there you asked me there, Satyam. I believe that it's a position in which he needs to get used to. It might not be the best position for him at the moment, but I think in the long run he will definitely adapt to it, and he will make it something that he's used to, and you shouldn't have any problems with that. I think it's a very free position, whereas in a 4-3-3, for example, when he was playing on the right wing, he simply wasn't having all that freedom, rather than, you know, just moving around all the time in a very free position right behind Kalinic. So I think it's not a bad position for him. Maybe he's not playing the best because he's not used to it just yet. But like we have seen him many times, I think he will adapt to this role as well if Montella is deciding this role for him. Pixflix says, put it this way, I'd rather see Zapata against Sampdoria than Zapata against Juve. That's definitely true. Would I sign Simone Verdi in the winter mercato as depth for Kessie? I don't see why not, but we probably won't be seeing that, because Milan already have their targets in mind, to be honest, for who they want to get in the winter. And it's going to be like 2-3 players. It's not going to be a big change, really, in the winter time. Looking at some other updates, Napoli just scored again. It's 3-2. Well, like I just said a minute ago, there's still 10 minutes, and anything could have happened. And there you go. And anything could still happen. There's still 6-7 minutes left, so who knows. A lot of people are giving their predictions, so yes, I'm definitely open to that. Make sure you guys send in your predictions. I want to know what you guys think and who you guys think is going to win. Mohammed says he predicts a 1-1 draw. Milan still hasn't drawn in this season. They have 4 wins in 5 games, but they have never drawn. Also in the Europa League, they have never drawn. So I guess it's bound to happen soon. Hopefully not tomorrow, because we need that win. But it's definitely bound to happen. Pixflix says 3-1 for Milan. Kalinic, Bonaventura, and Bonucci with the goals. Duvan Zapata for Samp. Liban says 3-0 for Milan. Andre Silva off the bench. Kalinic and Suso. Jimmy Muscat says 3-1 for Milan. So there's a lot of optimism in the chat regarding a result for Milan, a positive result that is. You know, I think it's going to be a very tight match. Milan might win this match. I'm not saying that we won't, but it's definitely going to be one of those games that one mistake could change everything. Sampdoria, like I said, they're still undefeated, and if they're still undefeated in 4 games, there must be a reason. Milan, definitely the favorites in this game, but playing away, you just never know what's going to happen. That's my take on the whole situation regarding tomorrow's match predictions. A few last comments before I sign off. The Polito 1990 says, personally, I can see Milan will focus on signing players for the Primavera squad during the winter transfer window, and that's definitely a very good way to see it. We have seen it a bit already this summer, where Milan signed a few players to develop under Gattuso in the Primavera, so that could be another approach there. Christy says 2-2 prediction. The Polito 1990 says, I say 2-0 for Milan, Kalinic and Suso. Murph says, how do you think about Montolivo at the moment? Should they sell him or leave him at Milan? Well, I mean, personally, I don't think he has anything left to do at Milan. I think it's time for him to leave. It doesn't really matter if he stays or not, because he's definitely not going to be getting that much playing time as he was last season or the seasons prior to that. So I would sell him. The problem is finding that buyer, because a lot of people always say we should sell this guy, we should sell another guy. And realistically speaking, it all depends if there's a demand for that player to begin with. Because, yes, you may want to sell one player, but if no one wants him, who are you going to sell it to? That's pretty much my main concern with Montolivo. I'm sure there's interest from clubs out there that would die to have Montolivo. And I'm talking about like middle table teams. But will he be, willing to go to one of these teams? That's where the problems start. So we're gonna have to see what happens with Montolivo. But if I had to choose, I would definitely give him away. Pixflick says we need to get back into the way of getting clean sheets. Conceding against Udinese, Cagliari, etc. is poor. It is very poor, and we kept a clean sheet against Spal during the week, so at least that was a good sign. We didn't concede against them, but then again, we need to do better. We need to definitely keep more clean sheets, because it's definitely going to make our life much easier. You'll need to score as many goals to win games, and I think some goals that we gave up this season, like the one against Udinese, for example, even against Cagliari, were very, very poor goals. Goals that we would have conceded in the previous seasons. And with the new acquisitions, we shouldn't be doing this. We shouldn't be, shooting ourselves in the feet like we were in the past seasons. So I think that's going to wrap it up, guys, for the match preview. Thank you all for joining me today and sending in your match predictions and your thoughts on tomorrow's match against Sampdoria. Once again, a friendly reminder that the match will be taking place on Sunday, September 24th at 12:30 p.m. Italian time at the Stadio Ferraris in Genoa. Thank you for watching once again. This has been Gio signing off from Rossoneri TV. Have a great rest of the Saturday, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for the match review. As always, Forza Milan.